Welcome back to our channel, your premier destination for the most comprehensive and thrilling updates from the heart of Port Charles. Today is a spectacular day to dive deep into the intricate web of secrets, lies, and emotional reckonings heading our way. The upcoming episode on Thursday, the 23rd of April, 2026, promises to be an absolute masterclass in suspense. Let us jump right into the breathtaking storylines unfolding this week. The atmosphere within the sterile, brightly lit corridors of General Hospital's intensive care unit is thick with an almost suffocating tension as Liz makes her way to visit Drew. Drew, currently incapacitated and recovering from a devastating gunshot wound, is trapped in a terrifying state of physical limitation. His body may be broken, but his mind remains remarkably sharp, holding the ultimate explosive secret of the identity of his shooter. Liz, with her decades of nursing experience and her profound, empathetic connection to the people of Port Charles, is not just a casual visitor. She is a highly trained medical professional with an intuitive grasp of nonverbal communication. As she sits by Drew's bedside, the rhythmic beeping of the heart monitor serves as a grim soundtrack to a desperate attempt at connection. Drew begins to blink, and the crucial question emerges: is this merely an involuntary physiological spasm, or is he desperately trying to communicate a coded message? Liz leans closer, her analytical mind racing to decipher the pattern. She knows Drew is a man of military background, someone who would absolutely utilize something like Morse code if he found himself stripped of his voice. The profound psychological weight of this moment cannot be overstated. If Liz can successfully decode the blinking, she holds the key to unraveling the entire mystery of the shooting. This potential breakthrough, however, is not happening in a vacuum. The mere possibility that Liz might become Drew's savior and the catalyst for the truth coming out is sending shockwaves through the hospital, specifically into the fractured mind of the very person who pulled the trigger. Lurking just out of sight, consumed by a suffocating blanket of paranoia, is Willow. The revelation that Willow is the one who shot Drew is a storyline that has completely shattered the perception of her character, and the guilt is actively eating away at her sanity. Watching Liz sit so closely to Drew, watching the intense focus in the nurse's eyes as she tracks Drew's every blink, is a form of psychological torture for Willow. Her heart pounds fiercely against her ribs, and a cold sweat breaks out across her skin as she realizes the walls are rapidly closing in around her. Willow's descent into madness is becoming the focal point of the narrative. This new obsession and paranoia regarding Liz's potential to decode the truth is exacerbating an already volatile situation for Willow. She is already living in a state of constant sheer terror because Kai and Trina are aware of her dark secret. Every time Kai or Trina so much as glances in her direction, Willow's fight-or-flight response is triggered. Now, with Liz actively investigating Drew's eye movements, Willow is being pushed to the absolute brink of a total mental collapse. How far will a desperate mother go to protect her freedom and her carefully constructed life? The distraction of Liz's visit is causing Willow to make frantic, uncalculated moves, transforming her from a loving mother into a dangerously unpredictable wildcard who will stop at nothing to ensure her dark secret remains permanently buried. In a fascinating psychological pivot, Willow's overwhelming guilt and lack of control over the Drew situation are manifesting as a ruthless power trip in other areas of her life. She is preparing to fully utilize her newly found power, a dark and calculating energy that is leaving everyone around her completely stunned. At the center of this power play is her relationship with her biological mother, Nina Reeves. Willow is currently holding a metaphorical guillotine over Nina's head in the form of a syringe that is covered in Nina's fingerprints. The cruel irony of a daughter ruthlessly blackmailing her mother is a testament to how far Willow has fallen. She is wielding this leverage with a cold, detached precision, ensuring that Nina remains entirely under her thumb. This newfound power is also being weaponized in her fierce, ongoing battle against her ex-husband, Michael. Michael, who has a long and documented history of exerting controlling behavior over his romantic partners, is actively trying to regain dominance over Willow. He is using the chaotic situation surrounding Jacinda Bracken as an excuse to dictate Willow's life. However, Michael is entirely unprepared for the new, hardened version of Willow that stands before him. Willow is dead set on forcefully removing Jacinda from her children's lives, and she is fighting Michael's controlling tactics with a ferocity that borders on the terrifying. This power struggle is not just about Jacinda. It is a desperate coping mechanism for Willow, a way to feel in control of her universe, while the secret of Drew's shooting threatens to destroy her from the inside out. Meanwhile, across town, a completely different but equally emotional dynamic is unfolding. The grand, mahogany-filled living room of the Quartermain mansion serves as the backdrop for a deeply nostalgic and incredibly poignant reunion between two people who love the legendary Luke more than anyone else in the world. Ethan's return to Port Charles has sent ripples through the community, but his encounter with Tracy is a moment of profound significance. Tracy is currently operating under a mountain of stress, meticulously orchestrating a massive, high-stakes cover-up to protect Brooklyn from the fallout of a disastrous car crash. Her emotional armor is thick, but the sight of Ethan, a man who carries the very essence and rogue spirit of his father, causes that armor to crack. As Ethan and Tracy sit together, the ghost of Luke heavily occupies the space between them. They share memories, their voices tinged with a complex mixture of profound grief, lingering affection, and a shared understanding of what it meant to love a man who was essentially a hurricane in human form. Ethan's curly hair, his mischievous smirk, and his unpredictable nature serve as a living testament to Luke's enduring legacy. But this reunion is not merely a trip down memory lane, it is the fertile ground for new, highly dangerous ideas. The interactions between Ethan and Tracy are sparking a strategic alignment that could shift the balance of power in Port Charles. Ethan has not returned to town simply to reminisce. He is a man on a mission, driven by a burning, vengeful desire to destroy Sidwell for the grim fate that befell his mother, Holly Sutton. Tracy, with her unparalleled cunning, her vast financial resources, and her ruthless business acumen, is the perfect sounding board for Ethan's dark ambitions. The new ideas they are formulating are steeped in a shared desire to manipulate the board to their advantage. Tracy sees in Ethan a useful, albeit chaotic, asset, while Ethan recognizes that Tracy's strategic mind can help him navigate the treacherous waters of Port Charles's criminal underworld. Together, they are a formidable, unpredictable force, and their newfound synergy promises to deliver explosive consequences for anyone who stands in their way. In another corner of the city, the complex and historically toxic dynamic between Rick and Alexis is being reignited. Rick, a man whose brilliant legal mind is constantly overshadowed by his manipulative tendencies and deep-seated insecurities, actively seeks out Alexis for advice. The tension between them is palpable, built upon decades of betrayal, passion, and an unbreakable, albeit dysfunctional, bond. Rick arrives at Alexis's door, pacing with a frantic, nervous energy. He is genuinely consumed by a growing, terrifying suspicion regarding the recent actions of Danny. Rick has been quietly observing Danny, and the puzzle pieces he is putting together are painting a highly alarming picture. He suspects that Danny is engaging in incredibly dangerous, potentially life-threatening actions. The shadow of Jason Morgan looms large over Danny, and Rick fears that the boy is walking down the same perilous, blood-soaked path as his father. Rick lays out his suspicions to Alexis, seeking her maternal wisdom, her legal perspective, and her grounded rationale. He desperately wants to intervene to save Danny from himself before it is too late. However, the agonizing question that hangs in the air is whether Rick will actually listen to a single word Alexis says. Alexis knows Rick better than anyone. She knows that his genuine concern is often hijacked by his impulsive need to control a situation, which usually results in catastrophic collateral damage. She offers him measured, careful advice, warning him of the extreme dangers of interfering in Danny's life without concrete proof or a solid strategy. But as Alexis speaks, she can see the wheels turning in Rick's. The tragic inevitability of Rick Lansing is that he is a man who asks for directions only to intentionally drive off a cliff. His interference in Danny's dangerous world is a ticking time bomb, and Alexis is left watching, filled with a deep sense of dread over what Rick's next move will be. Providing a stark, breathtaking contrast to the dark, suffocating drama of Port Charles is the vibrant, neon-lit energy of New York City. Gio and Emma have escaped the gloom of their hometown for a romantic, unforgettable exploration of the city that never sleeps. The towering skyscrapers, the chaotic symphony of the traffic, and the undeniable magic of Broadway serve as the perfect backdrop for their evolving relationship. They are not just tourists. They are two young adults desperately searching for something profound. They are looking for an adjustment, a new perspective, a way to define themselves outside of the heavy legendary legacies of the Scorpio, Drake, and Palmieri names. Their exploration leads them to the iconic New Amsterdam Theater, where the dazzling world of the stage musical Aladdin awaits them. The sheer spectacle of the production is mesmerizing, but the true highlight of their trip occurs backstage. Through Gio's connections, they secure an exclusive, intimate meeting with his friend, Michael James Scott, the incredibly talented actor portraying the genie. This interaction is a moment of pure, unadulterated joy, a brief respite from the heavy burdens they carry. Michael James Scott's welcoming energy and larger-than-life persona leave a lasting impression on both Gio and Emma. As they wander the streets of Manhattan after the show, the true purpose of their journey becomes clear. The new storyline surrounding Gio and Emma is deeply rooted in their desire to forge their own paths. The adjustments they are seeking are emotional and psychological. They want to experience life on their own terms, to find their own voices, and to build a connection that is entirely their own. The magic they witnessed on Broadway is a metaphor for the endless possibilities that lie before them, a beautiful, shining beacon of hope amidst the darker narratives playing out back home. As Thursday's episode approaches, the intricate tapestry of these storylines is being pulled tighter and tighter. Liz's desperate attempt to decode Drew's blinks is on a direct collision course with Willow's spiraling, dangerous paranoia. Willow's ruthless utilization of her newfound power against Nina and Michael threatens to burn her entire family structure to the ground. Ethan and Tracy's nostalgic reunion is quietly birthing a strategic alliance that could unleash a new wave of chaos upon Sidwell. Rick's dangerous suspicions about Danny, coupled with his tragic inability to heed Alexis's warnings, are setting the stage for a devastating confrontation. And miles away, Gio and Emma's search for meaning in the bright lights of New York offers a glimmer of youthful hope. The stakes have never been higher, the emotional depth has never been more profound, and the fallout from April 23rd will undoubtedly change the landscape of General Hospital forever.